Live from, I left my vacation home. I'm back home in my home studio, but it's Stay Busy with the boy Armand Sadler. All right, we here. We here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Stay Busy with Armand Sadler. I am your host, Armand Sadler, vegan chorizo poppy, multiple miles Monday poppy. I'll be tweeting, I'll be driving Uber. I do a lot of different things. I stay busy just like the podcast title. Another person who stays busy is my excellent, exquisite co-host, co-founder. How you feeling, brother?
Feeling good today. How y'all doing? How you doing? My name is Nick Early, executive producer and co-hosting Stay Busy. This is an exciting day. I'm always happy when we have great guests that I personally am invested in their success, and I enjoy seeing them do great things. So go ahead and introduce our guest, Armand.
So I was introduced to our guest. As some of you may know, I help out with a publication called The Lifestyle NYC, and she was interviewed by people within our team. And so I was like, the Beyoncé of marketing, who what? Like, who is this claiming such a title? And then you get to know her and you see everything that she's done. And it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense. So let me explain. Prior to creating her own table, she used to have a seat at the table working with record labels, but she said, you know what? I'm about to go do the thing independently. So our guest started Brown to Perfection. Now, Brown to Perfection is a creative marketing and event production agency that specializes in helping brands, companies, and artists become the best version of themselves. On a client level, they offer traditional and digital marketing, branding strategies, and experiential event services. Within their own community and culture, they provide resources in marketing, business development, and wellness through digital content and branded products. This includes curated niche events, mainly targeted towards millennial creatives and women of color. We love our women of color, such as vision board and affirmation workshops, happy hours, fitness classes, and beyond. And you might have heard of her very, very cool brownie bites. Now, she be tweeting positive affirmations. She's funny. She's charismatic. She's personable. She be in the clubhouse room arguing with us about wing preferences and you know which city is better. But great energy, just a positive person all around. We're so excited to have Junae Brown on Stay Busy. Let's clap it up for Junae.
Junae.
Thank you guys. You're far too kind. That was a very good intro. Thank you so much.
We do what we can. We're thankful for you joining us. Very, very excited. This will be, you are currently our employee of the month, which is very exciting. But we were like, one segment? Nah, we got to have Junae for the whole thing. We want to hear the takes. We want to hear the spice. We want the excitement. So we're very, very excited to have you. And thank you for stopping by the Busyverse, as we call it.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. You guys are great. And I think this is going to be a really, really fun conversation.
Yes, it is.
Cannot wait. So a couple shout outs. We got to shout out our listeners, first time listeners, returning listeners, people who might be listening for the last time. Still doesn't make sense to me, but hey, you know, it is what it is. Well, we thank you for riding with us as long as you may have been riding with us. Whether you like iced tea or lemonade, pass, fail, or letter grades, treadmills or ellipticals, chasing what you want, or the infatuation being reciprocal.
Okay. All right. We like this one. I'm an iced tea guy, and I need letter grades. I like letter grades. Pass fails to me. It's just like, I'm just going to put in enough effort to just be, it's just like, I need a letter grade. And then definitely treadmills. And it depends on chasing. The chase sometimes, I like to know that there's some sort of reciprocation. Like, I need to know that, if I'm on chase, I need to know that like it's in range, you know. But everyone likes to be in a reciprocated situation too.
Yeah.
What about you?
You like iced tea or lemonade, Junae?
It's so funny. I literally only drink water, but whenever I drink, it's lemonade. Lemonade's the only other thing that I drink. So
Oh wow.
unless it's going in some liquor, that's different. But lemonade, lemonade. I'm a lemonade girl all the way.
That was my next
Okay.
question. Do you drink? You drink though.
Yeah, I drink.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay, now pass fail classes or letter grades. You also like seeing that A+, that A.
Letter grade. I definitely was a you know, up until a certain point in school, I was a big overachiever. Letter grade, pass or fail. What? It's like
yeah. Waste of time. I think it's a waste of time.
It's like we just get one or the other. It's kind of like, did the teacher flip a coin or did I actually do well? So I like letter grades.
Yeah.
Pass fail classes are very much so senior year, spring semester. I'm just trying to get out of here. Now, are you a treadmill or an elliptical person?
I'm an elliptical girl.
Okay.
I
Okay.
look real cute on the elliptical. I feel like it's a lot more pressure on the treadmill. Like you really got to perform on the treadmill. I'd rather run, like go running than be on the treadmill, right? Like, but the elliptical, it's like, okay, I'm cute. You can change it. So cute. The treadmill.
Stress.
See, is the purpose to look cute or to get the workout in?
Both. And the elliptical allows you both at the simultaneously. Both. Like you can record a cute little Instagram story on the elliptical.
Right. Okay.
Working out. The treadmill, I'm too clumsy at going down.
Okay.
And last but not least, this is the important one.
The important question.
Do you be shooting your shot or did you like to be chased, or when you're being chased and you kind of have that, and you develop that mutual interest, do you give that energy back? You know what I'm saying? It's layers.
I prefer a man to be assertive in the beginning, right? Like I'm not anybody will tell you I'm the last person that will ever shoot my shot. I am not shooting my shot. My version of shooting my shot is more like, okay, I'm actually paying you some sort of mind and communicating with you. You should either take the hint and you take a shot, or if not, well, go in the friend pile you go, and then we just
in the friend pile.
But I will say, like, once we establish that rapport, I'm definitely a reciprocal type of person. Like I feel like we both in this, we like each other, like let's, reciprocal kind of girl.
Okay. Cool. A couple more shout outs before we get into the good stuff. Shout out our VP of everything, Kieran, the man you cannot see, but you feel him. Shout out to Anchor, our distribution platform. If you do not know, Anchor will distribute your podcast for free to all the streaming platforms you would like to use, and you can get some sponsored ads regardless of your listenership. And of course, Zoom, allowing y'all to see our beautiful black melanated faces. I just got my hair cut. I'm gonna take the headphones off so y'all can see. It's a little sharp over here. You know the vibes. So that said, let's get into our chat. Now we're recording a little early, so we're not going to have new album breakdowns for y'all. We're going to preview a couple things, but the first topic, and Nick put 2 question marks after one of these, so I'm very interested in hearing his perspective on this. Lil Baby this week announced that he charges $400,000 for a show. How do we feel about that?
Okay, I'm gonna defer to Junae first because I have a lot of words. But go, Junae.
400 and occasion. I think, listen, he's arguably one of the biggest artists in rap right now. So 400,000 sounds about right. I mean, there aren't really a lot of shows happening. So I'm assuming that if a show is happening, a promoter needs to make the absolute most out of the show. So they're going to pay whatever. I mean, 400K is usually prices reserved for way more seasoned artists. I think that's where people's eyes go, right? But I mean, hey, if people paying it, then what can you say? I mean, literally a few months ago, he told us it was 200, right? I mean, and if you have, artists who are kind of in that space and they have hit records and the numbers and the albums, like, are not a brand new artist is not doing anything under like 100K in a normal climate if they're like one of those breakout artists. So, hey, give him his 400 or you're not seeing him.
Mm-hmm. So my thoughts, I'll keep it brief. funny enough, I'm actually on his side. Like 400 for a show. Immediately, I was like, God, like, oh, that's how you feel. But it's more of like for people paying that, obviously that's why he's going to hold that price. Someone will pay that, right? So I think that when it comes to valuing yourself, I think you're valued at whatever number you create, right? It's up to the market to tell you whether or not that is high or not. So there will be somebody that will probably pay the 400,000, which will give him the confidence. If you don't book no shows off of 400,000, then obviously that will tell him not. But I'm very big into like people, creating their own value and let the market decide whether or not they're gonna pay that.
Yeah, Lil Baby's easily one of, if not the biggest rapper of this year. Had a very good 2019. Started rapping in 2016. Like seeing him accomplish all this, having just started rapping in 2016, it's his ascendance is incredible. So I'm with both of you. Like if that's what he deems his worth, and people are willing to pay that, then by all means. Next up, Nick, you put Radio Disney shutting down in 2021.
So when I was reading, I get the ASCAP Daily Brief, and I was just reading through this, and I was just like, obviously, I haven't listened to Radio Disney since as a child, but even before that, I didn't really even listen to Radio Disney. But I was just fascinated that Disney's a powerhouse, and the fact that they're shutting down Radio Disney, which is Disney's created this huge, I would say, super streamlined process for like how they push out their own talents music. Like obviously if they have these kids, they're going to put them on a show, then they're going to get them in the studio and record something, and then they're going to play it and pump it through Radio Disney and all the other stuff that they play. But it just shows a kind of like that the focus that they're going to is more streaming platforms and TV stuff. So it just shows like even a conglomerate like that is making a huge change to something, because they're seeing what the times are saying. Like if Radio Disney is going away, what else is going to go? So it was just something that I was just like interested in, and I just wanted to talk about it, let people know.
Word. Next up, Jack Harlow announced his album. That's what they all say. It is dropping. Well, it will have dropped by the time you all heard this. Again, we're recording early, so we can't talk about the album itself, but he did release the track list with features Lil Baby, Big Sean. He just dropped his single Way Out featuring Big Sean. Chris Brown is on it, Adam Levine, SG, Static Major, and of course his hometown brethren, Bryson Tiller. I'm looking forward to Jack's project. I've really enjoyed everything he's had to offer. The Big Sean song was cool. I didn't love it. It was cool.
Junae making a face.
No, Nick is making a face. So
Junae, you making a face.
Hey.
I'm making a face because I'm about to ask you something.
Okay.
How did you feel about the cover?
I did not. Do y'all know I spent 15 minutes searching through Twitter and Instagram trying to figure out what was wrong with the cover? I thought I missed something. I thought I missed a tweet, a moment, something he said. I thought somebody came out and spoke out. Like I didn't, my immediate thoughts about the cover was like, oh, okay, dope. Jack's dropping his album. I can't wait to hear it. And then I went on in the Clubhouse, and it was like a room about why it was a problem. And then I don't know. I mean, if you want to take it all the way there, sure, I get what you're saying, but I didn't see personally why we had to take it all the way there. And I think that it's interesting that people in one breath will say that because he's a white rapper, he needs to pay homage and he needs to include us in everything that he's doing because he's a guest in the culture. And then he seemingly attempts to do that, and that's an issue as well. So sometimes I don't know what people want. And I also didn't feel comfortable that the fact that I didn't see many, and I'm not saying they didn't exist, but I didn't see many or any really Black women saying they had a problem with the cover. It was other people kind of speaking for us and saying that they were offended for us or on behalf of us. And to me, that sounded more like some like misogynistic ego thing that actually had nothing to do with protecting or looking out for Black women. It was like, oh, I just don't like that he looks so fly with this Black woman. Right. Legs on her lap and on his lap, and the Black and the white and the Hispanic or whoever type of kids was outside the window, and he think he this, he think he that, and I'm like, it's rap.
Reaching.
Like, you're supposed to be like, and I thought it was tasteful. I thought it was very respectful. And honestly, I actually like Jack Harlow. Like, I think he can rap. I like his music so far. And I'm gonna listen to the album. I don't know. I don't want to go too deep, but I feel like sometimes we create more issues. And I think that in 2020, especially, there are so many real, and let me not say it's not a real issue. There are larger issues in the grand scheme of things that we could be putting that energy towards. If you really are so passionate, please put that energy into the areas where we really need it, that actually affect our progress as a people.
Right.
That actually affect how Black women are seen, protected, respected in various spaces. Like, we pick and choose, and I'm not really a big fan of that sometimes.
Yeah. Off that. Yeah.
You spitting. So all that to say, I'm very excited to hear Jack's album. I too like him a lot, and I think he's bringing something really cool to the culture. So, you know, we'll see how it is. Another album that the people will have heard by the time they hear this episode, Man on the Moon 3, Kid Cudi. A lot of people excited about that. I know a lot of people say Kid Cudi changed their lives 10 years ago. That's like a joke they make on Twitter every time Cudi does anything. Like, oh, here comes the kids saying Cudi changed their lives. Like, you one of them?
Those kids, I will never forget. Yes, Man on the Moon. Like, I was definitely like, what? I don't know. Let me not age myself, but I was like 17, 18. And I, on repeat, like, he was a part of my, you know, he's an Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius. I felt it. Like, it was my transition from high school to college. And I'm already very like, I think I wasn't like an emo teen, but I was like, you know, Tumblr, and your feelings. Like, I was that girl a little bit. And so, like, he got me. I felt it. And I was like, yeah, like, I'm different. And we just ride and we don't care. I love Kid Cudi. I say that to say. I haven't kept up with him, I guess, as much as his career progressed, but he'll always have a special place in my, you know, musical heart for what he's contributing. And I'm actually really excited to hear this album as well.
I respect that. I've liked some of what Cudi's done in his career. I definitely would consider myself like a big fan. But this album features Pop Smoke and Skepta. I was very excited to see Pop Smoke a feature. Also Trippie Redd and Phoebe Bridgers. So should be pretty cool. A lot of people excited about it. I know people didn't love Cudi's last project. I think that was Passion, Pain, and Demon Slaying 2016, 2017-ish. So, you know, this is kind of like a comeback, and it's always kind of dangerous continuing certain series. Like, you know, we saw Big Sean do Detroit and then Detroit 2, and people's feelings on Detroit 2 didn't match Detroit, and like Lil Wayne doing No Ceilings 3 or I'm Not a Human Being 3, and just like the doing series are kind of hit or miss, but people have been waiting for Cudi for a while. So I think there's just a lot of positivity and excitement around this. It'll be interesting to see if the music holds up. Another good music artist, Pusha T. People might know him. I kind of interviewed him this past summer. Anyways. He announced that he has an album exclusively produced by the Neptunes and Kanye West coming up. Now, this is interesting because when he and I spoke, he confirmed that he had the project coming with Madlib at some point. And a year prior to that, when he went on the Joe Budden podcast, he talked about how he was finishing up an album. So there's like 3 Pusha T projects that we've kind of been anticipating now. So it's like, you know, is this going to be another announcement that kind of just is an announcement and then nothing follows up? I mean, we do know his close ties with Kanye. Of course, he's super tied with Neptune. So like this probably seems like the most realistic thing to happen. It's just a matter of when it's going to come, because we know Push doesn't rush releases. He takes his time, like 3 years between.
On time. You got it.
Yeah. Definitely respect that. So I'm interested to hear it. I mean, Kanye production is always really good. Neptunes are legendary, some of the greatest producers of all time. So I'm looking forward to that. Another announcement that may not be an actual announcement. Odell Beckham was on an IG Live interview, and he said that Certified Lover Boy by Drake will be coming on New Year's Day. Now, I immediately went to my calendar and I saw that New Year's Day is a Friday, which is album release day. So I just imagine myself at midnight kissing my bottle of Casamigos and then checking my phone and seeing a new Drake album pop up right into 2021. And I'm very, very thrilled about the possibility of that happening. And if anyone would do that, Drake would absolutely start the year with an album. Like, knowing the 2020 we had, knowing how anticipated his album is, I could totally see this being realistic. Now, I don't know if Odell was supposed to announce this. I don't know if he messed it up for us by saying it too early, but I'm gonna wait and see. What y'all think? Do y'all think Drake would do it?
I'm gonna let Junae speak first.
I think that would be very Drake. And I love when Drake, I always tell people, like, my favorite Drake is like braggadocious Drake.
Yep.
Like, I love when he gets in his bag, even if he's not saying it on a record, whenever he does like some real, like, I'm the man shit, like
Yeah.
Drake. Because I feel like, sometimes I relate, I feel like sometimes, people really do be playing with him, but they just don't do it out loud all the time. And so, I feel that. And I love that. I think he is the perfect person to drop on January 1st. I don't know. I kind of feel like who else could drop on the 1st and really, like, it won't matter what else drops on the 1st. No offense to anyone.
There's very few.
It's Beyonce or Jay-Z, or it got to be somebody that's like all the way up there. It won't matter. They might as well, like, honestly shut down the streaming apps and, like, just have the album there. Because, to segue into 2021, that's some boss shit. Like, yeah, day one here. It's about me. I love that. And I too would like to be with a bottle of Casamigos. And hopefully wherever I'm at, the album just gonna drop. Like, that's what I'm envisioning. Like, it drops, confetti, something. I don't know how I'm gonna figure that out, but pop some champagne. I don't know, but I'm excited if it's true.
Yeah. Nick, how about you?
I mean, obviously, I'd be excited for it to happen. I think in a lot of ways too, which is kind of, it might make sense. I feel like for Drake's brand now, I feel like he's allowing, obviously he speaks for himself. He doesn't have to market himself. He could drop an album right now and it would break records. But I like how he kind of, like, this could be a thing where either Odell was wrong and, like, he was just, alluding to it, and Drake was maybe thinking about the New Year's Day thing.
Probably.
But given the pop star thing, the way he literally, like, the creativity of, like, having someone else do your video, I can't imagine. Like, I would imagine that this would be something cool too, is like having someone else, like, sort of like tease your project for you before you've had a chance to speak it. Like, I could see that sort of maybe I'm thinking way too much into it, but I could see that sort of thought process coming from that camp. Maybe like Odell teasing because Odell was in the single video too. So it's like, I think it's more connected than we realize, but also maybe not as true. So it could play both sides, but either way, we need some new Drake. You know how that goes.
Yeah, and I'm trying to. I can't, and please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I can't think of anyone who's dropped a new album on New Year's Day. Like this is very bold, because, like, a lot of artists typically avoid January because people are still transitioning into the new year and getting their footing, and it's still New Year's resolution, gym time, and a bunch of different things that kind of
sometimes drop in January.
What happened?
Like, or sometimes really big artists drop Q1, like top of January. And so it's just like, if you're not really big and you get even an inkling that people are going to drop, then it's like, even that rumor, if I'm a project manager, whoever, like, I'm sorry, the release is getting pushed all the way back. Why would we even play around like that? I'm getting on the phone, I'm sending texts, like, what's the truth? Because we done moved to February, but do we need to move further than that? Is he going to drop like the last, you know what I mean? Like, let me know, because it makes no sense to compete with a Drake release. I mean, if you're an emerging artist anyway, and, like, your fans are going to be excited and you do things in your rollout just to increase your visibility, cool. But if you're like a mid-level to, top kind of artist, just avoid. Why are you doing that to yourself?
That was my next question, to see if, like, it actually matters for up and coming artists to release in the same schedule. Right. But so, like,
yes, but I think emerging artists should be creating rollouts anyway that keep rolling out. Exactly. So you have your stuff to lead up to the rollout, you do your release, and then you have stuff that keeps it rolling out because you don't have that rapport yet. So you gotta
keep going. We're not stopping for Drake.
Yeah. Yeah, word. Well, I'm looking forward to January 1st, 2021. And regardless, like we'll be getting out of 2020. So even if we don't get a Drake album, it'll just feel so good to get out of this hellhole of a year. So I can't wait. Lastly, Nick, I know you peeped the Chloe Halle Tiny Desk. How'd you feel about that?
Shout out Jane. Jane sent me a snippet, which led me to go watch the whole thing. They're just my favorite because they are real vocalists. They are giving real vocals in a commercial sense. Like their music, what I love about them too is that the whole band was all women. You know, they had a horn section, they had strings, they had keys, guitar, everything, and it was just them two just having a good time, just singing the songs. The set list, the way the set was put together, I'm just like, I saw a tweet that was talking about like this is how you promote an album. Like this is how you continue to keep the streams coming. And I love Tiny Desk because for me it locks me into certain artists or it like kind of pulls me back. Like what the live hitting on, like what the live performance hitting on. Period. I need to know because that's a thing for me. I need the vocals. Like yeah, you can sound great on a track, but I've seen some very like how we say frightening Tiny Desks. I've seen some joints that have exposed some people. OD. Like I'm just like, see. But I love them. They're so it's just effortless. And you can see that they've done their homework so far as like going back and listening to the greats. You hear Chloe, especially. I think Chloe wants the throne. I think she wants all of it. Like you can see it like the way I think Halle is kind of like she's having a good time, like she's enjoying it, you know, like and just enjoying everything. But I feel like Chloe wants it all. Like she's just here for everything. So I'm very excited for them. It's great to see them emerging.
Yeah, do it. That's my joint. You
gotta go run the Tiny Desk. It's tough.
Yeah,
both of you gotta go run it.
Definitely will peep that.
Wonderful.
Yeah, word. Well, that's our chat. All that talking got us parched. So, Nick, what you sipping on, my brother?
I'm sipping on Jesus juice. You know, H2O.
Me too.
Also, let me not put no brand logos up in here.
I was gonna ask you. I was like, when you were taking a sip off camera, I was like, wait, Junae. Oh, there go the brand in the reflection.
A little alkaline water, you know.
You know what's funny? I've actually heard that brand doesn't have that their water actually tests acidic, Miss Alkaline. We gotta get you
pH over here.
Okay, got you.
Well.
Hey. But anyways, on half and half. This
they had at Instacart, guys. Okay.
It's all good. I'm just kidding. I'm just teasing.
I really hope it's not acidic. See, now I'm gonna be. I actually like a very random fact about me. I was really, really into school in general, but I was a really big science nerd and still kind of am. And so one of my favorite science projects was I tested the pH level of water in the Harlem Mirror, which is like in the middle of Central Park on 110th Street. And I was collecting water samples, which first of all was dangerous. My teacher was amazing. It was very dangerous. And it started pouring down torrential rain. I mean, to this day, I've never seen rain pour down like that, except for this one Rolling Loud year in Miami. Rain, I mean, pouring rain. And I still got them samples, okay? I was on the edge. I could have drowned and I got them samples. And I found out that the water in the Harlem Mirror is actually relatively clean. Like you're not going to die if you drink it, at least not that back then. I don't know what's happening now. But yeah, very relevant story, but I'm serious about the pH level of water. So now I'm going to have to do research.
You got to get on that Essentia. You got Essentia.
I love Essentia, but they didn't have that.
Instacart fault. Yeah, we said your name, Instacart. We said your name. Anyways. Right. But yeah, so our half and half, y'all, is coming out of Variety magazine. This is an interesting thing I wanted to talk to, especially we have someone who's here who's the Beyoncé of marketing. I would be very curious to hear her opinion about this. This is Simon Fuller, and Verizon form a pact to develop 5G music and entertainment experiences. This is by Todd Spangler. So what's going on is Simon Fuller, who is the British, let me say, media savant. He is the one who came up with the idea of American Idol. He's the founder of also, I don't know if it's XIX or if it's 19. It's Roman numerals XIX Entertainment. And they formed a partnership just recently with Verizon to develop, as they say, experimental and new entertainment experiences using Verizon's 5G ultra wideband platform and VR and AR and mixed reality technologies. For those who don't understand, quick crash course: VR is actually fully immersing, like full, we'll just say, field of vision, like when you're putting on the headset. AR is when like there are parts of you have to pretty much look through a screen. Like Pokemon Go is a great example. That's AR. Like you're seeing real world stuff, but digital things in mixed in. So, which is mixed reality. So it's really, really, really fascinating to me because when you're thinking about like as technology continues to advance, as things are going on, specifically within the pandemic, how everything has been pretty much digital. We've only had that option. How people are going to, once the world opens back up, how is that digital can continue to develop? And someone being on the cutting edge like this, he was the first person for a live TV network to have you be able to text in to submit, for your votes for a singing competition. So he's very much so that mindset. So what they want to do, they want to, of course, change the way fans experience music and entertainment. The collaboration is actually going to focus on enabling real-time interactions among friends and streaming content instantaneously, of course, taking advantage of 5G's low latency and high bandwidth characteristics. So it's expected to come. Their first release of the project is expected to come early 2021, and it's going to be basically a short form 360-degree immersive video that can be experienced with VR headsets. So if you don't have VR, I'm sorry, but that's going to be my question at the end. And then, of course, they want to then get into a music and dance-based reality, mixed reality experiences, one being involving playing with augmented reality. There's a quote from by Fuller. He said that, quote, "I can't read the future better than anyone else," end quote. He says, quote, "But I've always been excited about the next wave of entertainment and what's coming in the next evolution of pop culture," end quote. And so for me, when I was reading this and thinking about it, I really think about like, who is VR for? We talk about alternative experiential equipment, experiences in general. Who is that for? Because you have to have a certain amount of technology to be able to engage with that. But also, like, I'm not thinking about those sort of things. And so my question is, is VR and AR going to get to the point where it's not as expensive, where it becomes ubiquitous? Do y'all feel that way? And also, like, we're always going to find a way to put entertainment in something. So how is that going to move forward? What do you think, Junae? I'll give it to you.
I think that VR is for who we make it necessary for or appealing for. So for example, if we're talking about entertainment, right? If Travis Scott did a VR experience, his fans would figure out how to get them damn goggles, right? If we made it a regular thing that artists started to do these immersive, exclusive experiences, then VR equipment would be something that you needed to have, because in order to experience that, that's what you would need, especially now that there's no concerts happening. I do think that there's room for it. I think also that the cool thing with AR is that AR is way easier to use. There's AR happening on Snapchat. You can do AR on Instagram. I actually have a client who has I'll plug them. They're really dope. A client called Spoken Flames, and it's a AR candle. So basically when you open up the phone, the candle literally speaks affirmations to you.
Whoa.
We're going to be rolling out some cool stuff over the next couple of months. So
dope.
And it's already a great candle, smell good, looks good. It says things. So like, it'll say, like, one candle says like light it into existence. And then like it says affirming things. And so again, we're moving into, I think, that space regardless. I think in the beginning, it may be more of an, I don't want to say acquired taste, but something that is a little eclectic until we normalize it. But I think if, again, I don't know what artists right now, if offered the opportunity to create a VR experience that will go along with their rollout that could be accessible to their fans, would say no. I think every artist, I've been screaming from the rooftops that artists need to get more tapped in with technology and use it to our advantage. I think with COVID now happening, everyone's seeing the necessity for digital, right? It's no longer like, oh, this is cute, this is cool. It's now, there's no other way to connect to so many people at the same time. And if when we get a reasonable vaccine, there's going to be 1, people who are still not comfortable, 2, people who don't want to take it, 3, we have to rebuild an entire infrastructure that crazily came crashing down in less than 3 months. And I think the thing with that too is that now, because people have been so digital focused, someone who lives in Thailand can get the same experience of someone who's in New York City. That's never been a thing in a totality kind of way. It's always been like, you can get bits and pieces, but you got to live in New York City to go to the album release event, pop-up, the concert, all things. And I'm not saying this to say that experiential and in-person events are dead, but I'm saying I think the smart people are seeing the value in a more inclusive, which means wide range, which means technological experience. Like we saw The Weeknd and Doja Cat and Travis Scott again. Like we saw people doing all these things and they worked, and they probably maximized the amount of people they were able to reach without having to spend as much money as they would on a show. Like right. You can duplicate technology numerous times. Like there's people who never went to a Travis Scott show, whether it was because they couldn't afford a ticket, because they wasn't in their city, or maybe you don't want to deal with the moshing, right? But all those same people, on top of his core super fans with a huge fan base, sat there and watched that collaboration show that he did. Right. And it's like, if you don't see how like 1 + 1 = 2, you're gonna kind of be left in the dust. And I think hopefully music companies pick up the speed so that artists don't have to do it on such an individual and partnership basis. But I do think that's where we're going, similar to the movie industry. I don't think that certain things are obsolete, but I think that there's going to be more of a blend because it makes sense.
Yeah, so. That's a great idea. It's more of a blend. Like things aren't getting pushed away because of the pandemic. They're no longer obsolete, like you said, because of the pandemic. But
like we know what QR codes are for now. They've been shoving QR codes down our throats for like a decade. I'm like, I don't need this. They like on the side of the ice box outside the corner store. I'm like, I don't need this. Like, I don't care what they're doing, right? No offense, right? I mean, I used to start to do them because I'm like, okay, well, is there an importance? And now it's like, well, we can't touch anything. So wow, boom, menus. Now I can not only order, but I can pay with it. Like I have like products. I ordered Arden's Garden, like they have like these like, ginger immunity shot things. And on the box, it was a QR code and it was like, hey, watch our video. And there's a video taking you to content where it shows you how to take the shots. I have an artist client, TGI Fly, he dropped the project. We did some influencer marketing, and on the hoodies, literally on the sleeve is a QR code. And when you do it, it opens up to the music and starts playing the music. Like, this is where we're going. So everybody, yeah. I think it's great.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I just had an idea. I hope I'm not giving away a free idea, but imagine if like at some point like Apple and Spotify incorporated VR and like AR equipment into their streaming service. Like, we pay $10 a month for Apple, Spotify.
Why not? Like give people, I don't even know why we can't have a more social experience on streaming services. Like, I think I should be able to, I think they have some of that stuff going on now, but it's still not widely advertised. Like why, if we're friends, I should be able to follow you on Apple, on Spotify, on Tidal, and, on Audio Mac, on SoundCloud, and like see what you're listening to. Like, so that I can tap in. Like, why aren't we like connecting the dots? And I feel like if we had if there was some sort of AR, and AR is so easy, like it's right there. Like they already have partnerships with all the major apps. Well, at least with Instagram and Facebook. So it's like boom, boom, bam, create the experience so that people can repost it and say how cool it is.
Yeah. Spotify has actually done a solid job with like their social aspect, and then Apple Music actually followed them. And like a couple years ago, I remember Apple Music rolled out like profiles, and you could like be friends with people and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, I see what y'all doing. You're trying to follow Spotify. But yeah, I do still think there is another step they could take. Like Spotify has group listening now, which is really cool. Apple Music doesn't have that yet. Apple Music doesn't have collaborative playlists. So they're a little behind the 8 ball. But yeah, I'm just picturing like paying $15 a month for Apple Music, and then they send like an Apple brand headphones, and then like if I want to watch a music video, just throw them on, and then I'm like,
so fire. I mean, because then they could do anything, movies, I mean, even podcasts, right? Like podcasts is a big industry. You created some sort of AR, like, I mean, even listening to the podcast, right? Or watching the podcast, and then when certain things happen, or, you know, people have sound effects, whatever, and then like things popping up, like, I think that's so cool. I've been waiting on this since I was like a kid. I have like these crazy ways we can use VR and AR to like deal with things like running out of room and food and all this stuff. So I think it's time. I didn't see the necessity of it before. I'll admit, I felt like it was another one of those things where it's like, yeah, VR, AR, ooh, I can feel like I'm riding on a roller coaster. Amazing. Like, why do I need this in my house? Like, why do I need to pay for this? But like, it was very niche unless you were a super gamer, and even then, right? But I think now we're finally getting into the good stuff.
Word. Well, that was a great half and half, Nick. Thank you for sharing that. And Junae, thank you for your takes. You were spitting, so I hope they listen to us.
Tech and marketing intersections, as they would say.
As you all know, we have our employee of the month with us. We're gonna give her a brief shout out again, but we're gonna have a full conversation later. But we just wanted to give her proper shout out in the segment. So shout out our employee of the month. You're looking at her. You've heard her already. Junae Brown, the Beyoncé of marketing. We litty. Let's jump into this slide deck. All right. So our guest, we're gonna let our guest start. What song did you bring for us to bump?
I brought an artist that I really like right now. He's arguably my favorite artist right now, Blast, Overrated.
All right, let's get into it. Produced by Blast.
Hey, you ain't even gotta say it. It's understood, don't need to be complicated. Hey, you know we good, no reason to be explaining. Just give me loyalty, cause love is overrated. Yeah. I know you love when we shaded. They hate it when we isolated. You know we good, no reason to be explaining. Just want your loyalty, the love is overrated. Are you down to bleed the streets with me? Or could you be blinded by all this sights you see? I'm willing to give you all this love I got, but no relationships involved. I just need your loyalty, that's all. Don't need love, you ain't even gotta say it. It's understood, don't need to be complicated. Ay, you know we good, no reason to be explaining. Just give me loyalty, cause love is overrated. Yeah. I know you love when we shaded. They hate it when we isolated. Ay, you know we good, no reason to be explaining. Just want your loyalty, the love is overrated. Yeah, you know I'm forever late. Money ain't nothing if you got nobody to share it with. Heart on my sleeve, don't got a problem with wearing it. Time ain't free, so if you got it, then cherish it. You know the code never switch, my love be legit. You know I'ma go all out for my shit. If we ever fall out, get a grip, get it right back. And if it's up, let it stick, and it's like that. You ain't even gotta say it. It's understood, don't need to be complicated. Ay, you know we good, no reason to be explaining. Just give me loyalty, cause love is overrated. Yeah. I know you love when we shaded. They hate it when we isolated. You know we good, no reason to be explaining. Just want your loyalty, the love is overrated.
That's my song.
Yeah, that's my joint. That's my favorite one from the project.
So good. Cause it's like, it's such a bop that like, you know, some songs are deep and it's like, damn, you can't really listen to it without like being like, damn, this is deep, like it's hitting. Right. But this is like, it's hitting them, but it's so fire that you can't all the way get in your feelings. It's like, damn, oh.
right.
You gotta Harlem shake your way out the feelings.
So perfect. You get your feelings together with you, like, damn, you start thinking about something, it's like, up.
Right. You're back in it, yeah.
I like it. And a lot of people don't do samples right, in my opinion. And I feel like that was smooth.
Beautiful sample. Donnell Jones sample. Shout out.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that, Junae. Nick, what you bring for us, good brother?
I got some heat. Another LA artist. I didn't know we was doing LA artists today. But and also ironically, all these slides, the person who is the artist produced the record as well. But that was all coincidental today. But some things is just meant to be. Anyways, I got this is a project that came out in 2017. I was running this project up. This is Nothing to Something by Sid. This is off her Project Finn, produced by Sid.
I'm too much off the goose, so give me the juice. Too picky to choose out of all of you. These bitches kiss and tell, but I wish them well. I'm just overzealous, they think I'm selfish, but I'm working on my wellness. Hustle for my health, and I keep pushing this product till there's nothing on the shelf. If I go to hell, hope my bitches get to visit. Meet at my hotel, make another bad decision. You with it, sipping on something that's bubbling. They all hating, we love it. It's just the beginning of it, you know. This for my youngest, my cousins. I turn nothing to something, so I'ma collect this money for sure. Talk to me like. Talk to me like. We turn nothing to something. Introduce you to the new me. My life's a movie. All I need is a Karuchi. These women choosing. Hop your ass in this jacuzzi and bring it to me. You know I'm the truth, but you wanna see the proof. Well, you know what to do. Don't get confused, girl, I'm focused. This isn't news, girl, you know this. Just be my muse for tonight. I might change your life, so if you change your mind, I'll be here. Sipping on something that's bubbling. They all hating, we love it. It's just the beginning of it, you know. This for my youngest, my cousins. I turn nothing to something, so I'ma collect this money for sure. Talk to me like. Talk to me like. We turn nothing to something.
Hey, okay. Nah, I really love that one. I picked Sid because I had been. That's why we were having a conversation, for those who don't know, off camera, about sort of just blast and like the LA sound, and I love Sid because she's like, the pocket of the what I feel like really defines LA too. Like, very chill, very vibey, very nostalgic, just feel good. And I think that this shows the duality of the feel good. I think that comes out of LA. Specifically, like Blast is more the commercial side, vibrant, excited, happy, outside in the sun in a 6'4", rolling with the top down. And then Sid is more like, oh, she's cool, she's slick, she's smooth, like. And so I love the duality that we have there. But that was one of the songs that really stood out to me on the project when I was listening to it way back when. So I revisited it and I was like, oh, this is definitely a slide. Got to show that.
Yeah, it's a really good project. I really enjoyed that. And to end, I brought a track by an artist that I feel like is I don't want to call him a hidden gem, because people who know. But I think the mainstream music community still isn't fully hip to this guy and the person featured. So I brought Right Time by Ye Ali featuring Reggie Becton. And this is produced by Ye Ali. Let's jump into it.
You got the message, fuck the hypothetics. Car be over there, I called the Uber, it's the Lexus. Tell your friend she can come, I know she get jealous. I'll be over there tonight if you clear your schedule. I just wanna vibe tonight and be around your essence. Sip a little wine tonight, get about your exes. I can't can't even charge you cause you deserve all these blessings. I don't want tomorrow, want right now cause it's the present. I got a gift for you. Can I take a flick with you? Or I go trip for two. Lingerie in the mood, she a dancer. I need an interview, you're the best. I had another girl but she switched it up. She found somebody new tonight, I just fell in love. I don't know if it's me talking or it's the cup, but whatever it was, you came through at the right time.
You just came through. You just came through.
You came through at the right time.
You just came through.
Yeah. You came through at the right time. You came through at the right time.
Yeah, it's my joint. That's my joint.
Tough.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I think. Go ahead.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I was just gonna say I love Ye. Like he is so talented. Pen game is crazy.
Mhm.
And I love his music that he makes. Little fun fact, Kim and I, shout out to Kim Chanel, my partner in crime.
Love Kim.
We used to throw well, we still throw parties, but I was gonna say we used to throw them and have an artist perform. Like whoever was we felt like was a really dope, hot, like up and coming emerging artist or a producer or somebody. And Ye was one of the first people we ever had perform in our event.
Dope.
Not anymore, so really.
Can you sing live?
Yeah, Ye did his thing. He did his thing. He did what needed to be done.
Good.
But nah, that's like my boy in real life. It's always love when I see Ye. So it's super exciting always seeing him like, shine and get his flowers.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's I think I heard that track a couple months ago, but I heard it again when I was driving Uber this week. That's just my time to just catch up on music, and if it's trash, I skip it. And I heard it, I was like, oh, I remember this joint. I played it once. It's really dope. Yeah, I got to play it this week. I was sitting there riding, vibing. I had to repeat it. That you came through at the right time. That's bars right there. You know what I'm saying?
It's very real.
It hits home when you got somebody who came through at the right time. I don't want to get myself in trouble, but
I'll take the next segment.
But anywho, ladies and gentlemen, you know where you can find the Slide Deck playlist. It is on all platforms. You can hit the link tree in our Instagram and Twitter bios. And if you want to slide at it, you can hit us at Stay Busy Pod on IG and Twitter, or email us at staybusypod@gmail.com. Before we get into our main event, the board meeting where we interview Junae, we're going to play a fun game of auto reply. This is where we say a word and Junae tells us the first thing that comes to mind when we say that word. Yeah, we putting you on the hot seat. So, get some water, take a breath, stretch, whatever you got to do.
Rain is crazy. So let me.
Right.
We love it.
This segment is brought to you by. Right. Little mid-roll.
All right. Nick, you want to kick us off?
We're going to start it easy for you. Let's say marketing.
Beyonce.
Love that. Campaign.
Me.
So I'll go back to Beyonce.
Oh, I guess. Yeah, it's all cohesive. Oh, wait, you said Beyonce again.
Beyonce is the word.
You got to say Beyonce again, because I didn't know.
Beyonce. That's what we're saying.
The greatest.
Okay, got you.
Atlanta.
Georgia. Right now.
I know she did not just say. Okay, we'll take it. We'll take it.
It's the first thing.
It's the first thing. It's gonna go on the record as a whack answer, but it's okay.
I'm gonna try to do better. Go ahead.
Brown to perfection.
I was gonna say agency, but excellence.
There we go.
Labels.
The machine.
2021.
Destiny.
Digital.
I want you to know that I almost said marketing. That's where Um,
Say that, I guess.
I would say roadmap.
Okay. And then last we got Junae.
I literally almost said my last name. Manifestation.
There we go.
All
There we go. A
right.
little auto reply, taken a little more literally than we ever had before, but it's all good.
It's them buzzwords. It's them buzzwords.
Somebody said my name like Junae Brown. Brown Direction Agency. Like
She is a walking marketing campaign. So our board meeting, we're going to give you all an opportunity to get to know the Beyoncé of marketing from her start as a part of Destiny's Child. No, I'm joking, but we just want to get into you and your background because well, one thing about me with people who work in the music industry, and this is me revealing something about myself before we get into you. Back in the day, I actually used to make music with my cousin and my brother. You know, I realized at a certain point that I probably wasn't going to make it. So I transitioned and I found my way into journalism. So I'm always fascinated at the people who chose to be engineers or choose to be a publicist or choose to work in marketing and kind of how they got there. So the best place to start is what's your background and what ultimately developed your interest in what you do now?
so interesting you started off with that because my entire life I've been singing in front of people since I was 2 or 2.5. A lot of people do not know this unless you like really know me well. I still write music in all transparency. But yeah, I was in a girl group at one point when I was a teenager. I was always, the kid who's like always singing all the songs at graduation. I've been writing music since I was probably like 8, writing little like Destiny's Child type bops at lunch with my friends and organizing the concert we were doing. And yeah, I would say in high school, I was in this music program at Harlem Children's Zone. It was like an after school program where they paid us to go to after school and do things that we should have been doing anyway. Shout outs to the amazing Jeffrey Canada, great person to look up. Anyways, there I was in a music class and my mentors were people who had been in the industry, A&Rs, tour managers, songwriters, for some really notable people and labels. And they were the first people to, one, outside of myself, like really recognize that I can write music well, outside of just being able to sing. Yeah, I was like in pageants and stuff, like in high school up, like that was my
Live the
thing.
life.
A little bit. And so we were in there writing music, recording it. We had like a girl group. We would like perform for like the governor and like charity events. There was a lot of stuff going on. I went to a performing arts high school, vocal major there, Town Unlimited High School in New York. And in every choir, everything. I also grew up in church. My grandfather, bless his soul, he was a bishop and pastor. So again, this was all a thing. And in that music class, they not only were the first people to be like, oh, wow, you write music really well to be 16, 17, but they also taught me that there were other things I could be in the business aside from being an artist. And they started to teach me things about the business so that I would be prepared no matter which route I went. Then I found out about Five Towns College in Long Island, and it provided me the opportunity to not have to choose, and I could get the best of both worlds. There was a major where I could sing and I could have a minor in music business, right? Literally the first semester in, I was like, I've been classically trained my whole life, singing, reading sheet music, all this stuff, or, reading my way through the sheet music because I ain't the greatest at that. But I was like, I don't feel like paying people to teach me how to sing anymore. I can do electives. If I really want to pursue music for real, I'll just do that. I fell in love with the business courses, like in love. What's cool about my school, there's a lot of things that are ridiculous about it, but what's really cool about it to me is the curriculum. So I switched my major to business management with a concentration in music business. So I'm learning like traditional accounting, micro, macro economics, psychology, all these different things, human resources. And then my concentration, I'm taking courses, literally music publishing and copyright, business law as a class, music, concert production is a class. Music marketing specifically is a class, right? And so learning all these things and really sharpening my skills. So it's a bit of a cheat code if you're going into the industry, because I was pretty well versed in things that people were taking 10 years to learn how to do through experience only. And so then I interned first. Oh my goodness, I've been interning since I was like 15. So I interned with like an independent DJ management kind of A&R company. Then I interned with a startup marketing and brand management company.
Makes sense.
And that was super fun. We took our artists through like Battle of the Bands, like, and that's when Afropunk first was like, that was like a really still a big thing, but like that was in the beginnings. We took our clients to Good Morning America. I organized listening events for these artists. There was a clothing line client, and she had like a mobile clothing truck at one point. She's still a phenomenal, very renowned designer to this day. And so I learned a lot there. I was also underage, so like I'm organizing a listening event at like a Ace Hotel type lounge bar thing, and I can't even drink. I was like 19, just taking me into everything. It was very funny, but they were great. This was when Instagram first popped off, right? So I started all of their social media pages, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and really got them in the thick of it and figured out how their artists could utilize it as well. So little did I know, I was already putting together digital content strategy for artists, brands, and companies, right? So all of this is going on. I'm paying attention, but I'm like, I just want to learn. And so then this is a long story, guys.
It's an amazing story. I'm locked in.
It's your time.
I throw this huge barbecue at my school. Now, a little bit about me, like I've always been like, the fun crew, like we gonna party, we gonna turn up, we gonna, my grades is good, but hey, we gonna find something to do in this small ass school. So I decided to throw this huge barbecue at my school, like end of the year type barbecue on our lawn. I made that school get me a mechanical bull, a bouncy house, snow cone machines, cotton candy. I made the calf, who wasn't the best known for food. I sent them a menu and made them cook us barbecue food, mac and cheese, have all the stuff, like did all of that. We had games, we had booths, we had a dunk tank. I had my school was full of artists. So I had the main popular artists, some of them were my friends. I had them performing live outside with a live sound system, instrumentation, all types of craziness. We had a water balloon fight. It was ridiculous, to say the least. We had people from not going to the whole school came, first of all, including commuters, which is a big deal because they never stayed for anything ever. Right. And then we had people from other schools coming. I invited all my friends from the city. We had so many people there. And it was so great that the dean of activities was like, hey, do you want to be president of SGA? And I was like, me? And I was like, I'm for the people and everything, but are you sure this is what you want to do? Because we still want to be that. And he was like, no, I want you to take it from president of student activities, and then you can hire whoever you want to be the VP, and they kind of focus on issues. So of course I hired my best friend, Kayla, shout out to Kay Dilla, an amazing artist. And so she was kind of handling the stuff because she hated everything that they were doing. There were so many issues. And yeah, I put on 66 events per semester. Anybody who wanted to do anything, if you were the chess club and you wanted to have a sit down with cupcakes, you had to come through me, fill out the form. I established a budget. I go back to the school and the deans, get the budget approved. So again, this is starting my project management stuff. I also had to market all of the events. It wasn't like people were producing their own flyers. So I had to create every single flyer, put it out, make sure it made sense, make sure I was putting it in the areas where that particular group of students or people would find it, translating it onto online. I had them start doing an actual, being active on the actual school social media so that we could promote the stuff that was happening, all that stuff. And then I go to intern I think senior year, because junior year something happened and I couldn't do it and I was devastated. I interned at Sony Music at RCA Records. It was between A&R and marketing. And I think after speaking to her and seeing my work, she was like, you give me marketing. And I was like, okay, whatever. And she was like, you could do really well on A&R. She was like, but which one do you want to do? And I think it was the fact that if I wanted to do A&R, I would have had to go to another label. And I was more crazy about RCA's artists. Because RCA got real
the heat,
right?
The heat.
So I was like, yeah, I'm going over to RCA, the roster, we in marketing. So as soon as I get there, they're like, you're the idea girl. And so they're like, yeah. So they had me working on like actual artists, like assets, and like we did like these projects where we were able to rebrand artists and they actually used some of my ideas. So imagine me, I'm like still in school, I'm like, this is crazy. And so I'm like, I'm trying to get a job, right? I break my ankle 3 weeks before graduation. Very stupid story. I won't waste you guys' time on it. It wasn't anything. I wish it was a better story because then I could be like, yeah, I jumped off a roof. Nope, it was very stupid. And I was devastated because I was like, I'm never gonna find a job. Oh my God. And I called my supervisor and told him, he was like, okay, well, whenever you could get in like a cam booter or some crutches or something, just come back. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, just come intern for the summer and like, we'll see what's up. And I was like, oh. As soon as I don't know if you've ever seen a cam boot, like that plastic boot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so I went to the doctor, let's say on Tuesday. He was like, okay, here's a cam boot, be careful, you know, blah, blah, blah. Wednesday morning, I was at RCA, hobbling up and down the hallway, back and forth to the printer. And they were like, you know, you can sit down, right? I was like, no, I'm good. Whenever I feel a little like stagnant or anything, I try to tap into that girl because she was not playing. Like, I freaking was like, I had my supervisor introduce me to people. Shout out to John Angle, still to go to this day, introduced me to hiring managers in HR. Shout out to Marco, still an amazing HR person in the industry to this day. And, you know, I built a relationship, but before I even broke my ankle, I built a relationship. And so it's really as simple as saying hi. If I'm going to that floor, stopping by and saying, what's up, how you doing? Like, I always try to tell people that are looking for opportunities that like, you gotta be a person and like, you know, it's about relationships. That's what this industry is about. Like, so the second internship, I'm now leading the team of interns. Like, I tried to get them to know that Vine was like an example of where we were heading digitally. They didn't see it yet, but that's one of my favorite moments, aha moments for me. And so, we do all this stuff and then he starts sending me on interviews and I end up, RCA didn't have openings. I end up at Columbia Records in finance and operations, which was cool because they oversaw directly all the marketing strategy. And so I learned how to budget for marketing outside of just the creative. Also any like, because I was working for the CFO, like any record deals, whether they were being renewed with options, whether they were being freshly signed, whether they were being like people were being dropped or whatever, nobody could like, they won't touch his hands until they touch my hands. Like he had me look at them first, to make sure that like certain things were right. And so like, yeah, I'm literally reading through Calvin Harris's negotiations for the next however many years. Wow. Right. So like that, and I mean, it just kind of reinvigorated all the stuff I had learned in school already. And my boss at the time knew that. And he was phenomenal to this day, like so integral in just, he was like, you know, you got something. And like, I want you to work for this company. He was like, so anything that you need or you want to learn, like that book, what is it? How to make,
you're talking about
business.
I got it. I was about to pick it up and show it on the camera.
Yes. So he was the first person that introduced me to that book. He got it for me for, I think it was just like my first week. And he was like, hey, here's a book, a good book for, you know, read this. This is a crazy time, y'all, because this is also when streaming first popped off. So like Spotify was doing stuff technically without, I don't want to say too much, but the labels weren't happy, let's say that, right? And so they were forced to like hurry up, because they didn't want to go through the whole thing again with like CD versus iTunes. Like they had to like and so I was seeing the biggest issue was the royalty numbers. And we're thinking like, look how much we spend to make an album, and this is how much you're trying to charge us per stream. And so to this day, I'm really not comfortable with the royalty numbers with most streaming platforms, but I learned about that very early on. And like, I also was in charge of like doing reports for the whole label. So like for Sony Music Entertainment period. So I had to crunch the for every label. So what the head of Epic was spending, what the head of RCA was spending, even though I wasn't there, and preparing the literal executive documents. So when the big bosses, the presidents, the LA Reeds, everybody sits down and talks with Rob Stringer, who's now, and Doug Morris was head at the time, but now Rob Stringer is now the head. Like when they all sat down with him, like that was my report. So I had to be on point, first of all, with them numbers. But it was also cool seeing like how a company runs, how a music company runs in totality. And I think the operations side of my job at that point too, I had to deal with employees. I had to onboard people. I had to know how much we spend on peppermints like a month, right? Like, and then how much we're spending on studio time, how much our A&Rs are spending flying to go chase down rappers that we won't name, that we didn't sign, right? Like stuff like that. And so, yeah, it was great, but I love marketing, and Columbia didn't have the roster, enough Black music for me. I'll put it frankly. Like, yes, they have big artists, legacy artists like Beyoncé, and they had Tyler the Creator and stuff, but like they don't drop all the time. And like they had J. Cole, but literally when I got there, J. Cole did my favorite rapper, by the way, really embarrassing story about how we first met, 2014 Forest Hill Drive. And after that, he was transitioning over to Interscope, right? So I'm like, damn, my favorite rapper ain't even gonna be on here no more. So in the meantime, RCA is like, knock, knock. Hey, you want to come back home? And I'm like, honestly, yes. My old supervisor was like, I'm moving to a new department with my job. I'm like, yep. But that was a big, crazy thing, a tug of war between the two labels. Columbia was trying to get me to take almost any marketing job they had. It wasn't, so I go back to RCA, and it was a great experience. I got to work on so many amazing artists, and to this day I love. It was craziest workload ever, but I got to work under some phenomenal Black women that are responsible for, all Black women who are responsible for like everyone from Chris Brown to literally Usher to literally her, Jasmine Sullivan, the ASAPs, like whomever you can think of, like TLC, like heavy hitters. And so we broke Bryson at that time. Like it was great. But for me, it was also the time where I realized that I am not made to sit in an office all day long. A lot of the work sometimes, I'll say in music, depending on what's going on in the company structure, every company is different. It becomes very administrative, and I'm creative. And they literally hired me to say like, yo, you're super creative, that's why we hire you. And so that wasn't happening. We kind of came to a mutual decision that like this wasn't working. I was already interviewing for new jobs at work, because that's what Black people do. And I was up for a final interview at another very popular music company. And then there was some like debacle with paperwork. And I was telling my mom, like, look, I don't know. And she was like, listen, you've had not one, but two jobs. You've been interning since you were like 15. Like, if you want to take a second, like a breath, and figure out what you want to do, it's okay. You don't have kids, you don't have a mortgage. Like, it's okay. Right. Okay. And that was very hard for me to like, because I'm not that. I'm like
that person. I could, yeah.
We gotta go. I'm like, what do you mean? What if we stop and then we never start again? So I needed that conversation from her, life lesson. And when that whole thing, they were like trying to fix it. And I was like, listen, this is my rainbow in the sky. Because I was praying, and I was like, God, I don't know. I was processing a lot of invoices for outsourced marketing or, stuff. And I'm like, I'm doing the numbers, and I'm like,
back.
You gotta be here all day. And I'm like, if they got these many clients. I'm like, they're making more money than I am, and they don't have to be here in these four walls. I was like, oh, I don't know. I was like, I wonder if I could do it like on my own. And I was like, Brown to Perfection was a website, guys, in the beginning. Literally that I made again at work because I was feeling burnt out. And I was also like, I felt like I should have a personal brand as well outside of like my stuff. And I wanted to give resources to people who were trying to get into the industry or any industry. So how to be like a good intern that lands a job, like, and then for people in music, there's so much stuff that you do at the labels that you can do yourself if you sit down and do it. Like I was making like one sheets and things for like big old, for like, let's say for example's sake, right? Like if Coca-Cola wanted to work with one of our artists, I was doing making one sheets and like PowerPoint slides, like, and it looked amazing, right? But like this goes to say, like, it's not always about being in the place. Like, yes, there's obviously things that go with the machine. There's a lot of things, but you can get further than where you are if you do the right thing. So that's what Brown to Perfection was supposed to be. I guess it's still that. Why I'm so serious about like giving resources. But yeah, so that other job fell through. I never looked back after that. And here we are. This is 2020, 4 years later, going on 4.5. And I still love this thing. Entrepreneurship is crazy, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. People always ask me, like, would you work for another company? I'm like, it would have to help me leverage my current company. And I almost did that, by the way. But it'd have to help me leverage my current company, and they'd have to pay me.
What's the bag hitting on? What is the bag hitting on?
Have to pay me so much. Like they'd have to pay me, like, I won't say a number, but they're gonna have to pay me
an exorbitant amount of money
for the time that I may lose, and for the other additional person or people I may have to hire to be my eyes and ears because I got to contribute to them. And like, yeah, they're gonna have to make me some money back in the process. Like I'm talking like hiring my company to do like, there's a lot that like I think comes with me, like even outside of just my work. If I stop my business today, like just the strength of my relationships, my ears, my eyes, like vision, creativity, like the understanding of like both cultural bottom lines and corporate bottom lines. A lot of people don't have that for real. And so once I understood that, I was like, yeah, if you ain't talking something that makes some sense, we're not doing it. But here I am, guys. Longest story ever.
No, I love the story. I was locked in for the whole time. I have to applaud you as a Black woman, an entrepreneur, just making your space, doing your thing.
You guys are so sweet. I mean, I love the agency because I started off in music, right? But I think I'm just a talented marketer, period. So I've been able to, I really spent the first few years, I won't say I wasn't working with music clients, but they weren't really a focus because I want to market everything. I will market the lamps in this room. Like I will market, and like now we have tech apps, we have hair care companies, we have AR candle clients, we have politicians, we have artists, right? Like we're able to do everything. We have media personalities, like there's no limit. And that is how I see this agency. I know that like a lot of people decide on a niche. Like there's so many agencies like, oh, we do tech. Right. Oh, we do music. Oh, we do actors. Oh, we do I don't know, we do office supplies, like whatever that looks like. But for me, I think our niche is how we execute and our ability to really tap in with the target audience authentically. Like authenticity marketing is our jam. And I just really don't think anybody does it like us. Not that anybody does it well, but I think we just have a different touch, a different level of ideation and like vision. And we do things that can transcend one project for one time. Like we're giving you something that you can take and like keep going. Like you could run off our strategy, I kid you not, for 5 to 10. Like if you right, you can do that. And I don't feel like not that many companies are tapped in such a broad way. And like I said, like cultural meets corporate, like there's no issues here. Usually you get one or the other. You get a really rigid marketing plan that's only for sales, views, listens, or you get a super creative one that might not translate. And I just speak both languages. So
wow. So what does it take for someone to get to work with Brown to Perfection?
Shoot us an email. And then I like to vet all my client leads like a maniac, which is also why my schedule is so crazy. But I like to talk to people because we have different options. And maybe you're not ready for a retainer, but maybe you want to do one-off consultations until you're ready for that. Maybe you're just doing our digital billboard placement service, and like you should just have billboards up in cities across the United States. Maybe, and I just want to get to know the client. We're not like, it's not like the automobile industry and it's like, oh, put this, put that, put that. Yes, there's strategies that typically you have to touch, but to me, every client is different. It's tailored. Like, I'm not going to talk to client A's audience the same way I talk to client B. They're two different clients. I mean, I could be marketing two of the same thing and I won't market it the same way because like, I don't really believe in that. Of course, again, there's things that we do consistently, but yeah, so shoot us an email. We can get on the phone if you want to just book a consultation straight away. A lot of people just like, no, I want a full thing right away. So all the links and like bios and stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna be putting out some more resources, just even for people who even aren't ready for that. Like I believe that everyone has something about them that's great.
Yeah.
They just know how to maximize it and be in the position to do so. So I try to do that as much as possible. Even if it's not marketing, if you're just an everyday person, like I care about people. And I think that's why I'm in marketing, because it's all about people. It's all about psychology. And it just merges the things that I love.
So what I'm curious about, you clearly have a very diverse background and experience doing a lot of different things. And often in creating your own agency, your own creative endeavors, a lot of people see the name, and if it's not like a big name, then they might be hesitant to work. They're like, oh, like what can I get out of this? Is it reliable? So what challenges did you encounter starting Brown to Perfection agency and kind of taking it to where you are now?
To be honest, again, I'm a person who really is serious about relationships. And that's not to say that I'm the person who's going to like hit you up every week, because I'm absolutely an Aquarius and that's not happening for anybody, even people that I'm actually really close with. But I have a way of staying connected with people genuinely. And when I connect with you in the first place, it's genuine, no matter what level that it's on. I actually was scared to death when I first started the company. I was scared. I didn't advertise any services. We still kind of don't. Like, what's crazy about this company is that like you probably have never even seen our website. Like majority of our clientele come to us. Like, I don't really, unless I have a really big idea for a company. So like, for example, we have an influencer campaign happening right now with Sour Power Straws. And like, I literally discovered the mango sour power straws and I was like, these are crazy good. And I found their social media and I tagged them. They I think responded like, thanks or something like that. And I hit them up and I just let them know what I did. And I was just like, yeah, like I would love to talk. Like I would love to produce a campaign for you guys. Like if that's a thing. Just so happened the person on the social media that day was one of the heads of marketing. And so she was like, yeah, sure. And yeah, we got on the phone and we've had an amazing relationship ever since. Some things got canceled. So like we were doing this huge South by Southwest activation. Literally, and we were holding on, like I still have my flights, and South by Southwest tried to hold on to, and literally that was the deciding factor. Like that's how we knew it was real. We were like, they didn't cancel South by, Lord.
I was supposed to go too.
Yeah, crazy. It was gonna be so good. I mean, I hope the next time is just as good. But anyways, yeah. So like very referral based, like word of mouth. I'm blessed to have amazing friends, colleagues, associates or just people who even follow me online who are like, you need marketing, like hit up Junae, right? I think too, like, it's not like I don't know what I'm doing. And I think that if you actually like speak with me, and of course work with me, I think you see that. I mean, no marketer is perfect, no strategy is perfect. A lot of times it's gonna go how it's gonna go. You do the best you can and navigate. But yeah, I think in the beginning I was scared, but I also was in a huge creative community in New York at the time. And so again, people know what you do, they're gonna ask you for help. I was grateful to even a lot of times just having friendships with people and ending up marketing them, not really even officially. And like people see how well that goes and they're like, yeah, Junae did that. Like,
Yeah.
it just kind of
Work speaks.
happens. Yeah, like, and when you're a good person, inherently decent person, right? You do good by people. I always believe like good things happen to good people. It doesn't like, make you exempt from adversity, but I think God, the universe, whomever you believe in, will honor that and you putting your best foot forward. I think I absolutely went through phases where again, I was super scared. I was like, there's so much figuring out, like with business, right? No matter how prepared or experienced you are, I always say that business built me. Like I was built business, but like the biggest things and challenges, the biggest things and challenges for me were actually like self-development stuff, like becoming a better person, a better leader, more self-aware, more confident, like all of that stuff. So, I mean, I guess it was challenging, but not really. I don't know. It depends on what you look at as a challenge. Cause like, I'm a little like, I'm like, oh, what you said, I can't do that.
That's that New York.
Like, what happened? Like, I really don't, I'm super sweet, but like, I always say like, I'm a shark, but sharks, like, first of all, entrepreneur, right? You eat what you kill, right? So like, if I don't go get it, it's not getting done. If I tell people this, if I don't go make the dollar, it could be $1. If I don't make the dollar, I literally don't have a dollar. I can't sit. It's not the same as like, and no disrespect, but it's just not the same as working somewhere and like, oh, you can be out sick for 3 days and you're still gonna get a check of some sort, right? You got PTO, you got this, you got that. Like, this ain't that. Like, oh, what? You want your nails done? You want to eat? You want to live somewhere? You want to go hang out with your friends? Okay, well, you have to make some money and figure out how to do it. So that's the thing. And like I said, I'm a shark. I would consider myself a shark. And sharks only attack really when they smell blood. So I think sometimes they say they're a shark and they're like, ooh, you kind of vicious. I'm like, yeah, when I need to be, when I need to eat, when I see something that I need to, you know what I'm saying? I need to dominate this area. But that's the life. I'm really excited. I know that like agency stuff takes a long time sometimes, like startups especially, and there aren't that many Black owned startup marketing agencies and definitely not run by Black women. My entire team is Black people and literally 2 Black men and they're like on the content side, love them. But like my internal team, all Black women. Like we come up on the Zoom like, hi y'all, this is that. And we've been blessed to like work with lately, especially like a lot of like Black women CEOs. Actually, wow. 4 out of 5 clients that I'm thinking of that we onboarded for like rather recently, they're all Black women CEOs. Like, so I don't know, this is like my dream to like empower people that look like me every way possible and to maximize the potential of great things, great ideas, great products, great people, like great music, like great movies, great TV shows, great chapstick. Great. I don't
know. Everything great.
Yeah.
And I'm just really grateful to be swear to you. Like, I know y'all follow me on Twitter and like, I am super deep, but like, I really mean it when I be like, wow, I'm super grateful right now. Like, I'm so blessed to be able to wake up every single day and like create a life that I love. When it's easy, when it's hard, when it's indifferent, when it's wonderful. Like, you know, some days are harder than others. Entrepreneurship's not easy by any means. I'll never mislead people, but I will say that it's something that when you stick to it, it's very rewarding.
Wow. Junae
Brown, everybody.
Yes.
If her story isn't inspiring to you, you got to listen to this episode again, because that was very, very empowering. We thank you for giving us your time, your energy, your enthusiasm.
So fun.
We definitely got to bring you back. We know that you've been staying busy all day and you about to go stay busy some more. So you got to come back to the busy verse at some point, but we really do thank you. Just to get into some bulletin board announcements, a single that will have dropped by the time you hear this by the homegirl Hennessy. She's really cool with Kojo. It's called I Get Lonely. Shout out to our guest last week, Perfection. Her track York Way by Vori featuring Beam dropped. It's our first major placement, so y'all definitely check that out. And the Stay Busy mailing list. Make sure y'all sign up. We're going to post that on our social media so y'all can get exclusive emails, news on upcoming things that we got for y'all. We got some special things planned to end the year and kick off 2021. So make sure you stay woke and you stay busy. Once again, we had the incredible Beyoncé of marketing, Junae Brown, out here bringing that Black woman magic, the vibes, the energy, and yeah, well, like I said, we definitely got to do this again. It's the boy Armand. As Nick is here, we want y'all to wear your masks, wash your hands, try to social distance. It's cold out, so you shouldn't be doing any outdoor brunches, outdoor dinners. Although I was at brunch this weekend, and there were people sitting outside, winter coats, heat lamps. It was kind of wild. It was a little wild. I was indoors eating, so yeah, I wasn't messing around with any of that. But ladies and gentlemen, love y'all. Stay safe, stay humble, stay busy. Let's hit that outro.
Baby girl, how you feeling? I've been out in the world, staying busy, taking time, getting right if you miss me. I've been out in the world, staying busy.
Mondays 9 a.m. Party with the gang. Every week, tell a friend. Busy over everything. Busy boys, out of call now. Ain't you heard? Got the vibes. They put you on. Got the slides. I'm the size. When in doubt, no, we hold it down.
Baby girl, how you feeling? I've been out in the world, staying busy, taking time, getting right if you miss me. I've been out in the world, staying busy.